Hey guys, it's Ben. It is Friday now, and we have only got 4 days left until the launch of Outlaw Nights. Very exciting. Very exciting, very nerve-wracking. Um, First of all, special thanks to Captain Fuckhead who got all this going. Special thanks to Concrete Leper for constantly being a good viewer for me and for all your awesome recommendations. Special thanks to Archangel with Arc City Comics. Special thanks to Red Gaze. Special thanks to God, there was one more person I wanted to thank, and of course their name slipped my mind. Graded Point 5, who I'm gonna be going on to their stream next week. Bunch of people have been helping out. Wenger. God, can't forget Wenger. Thank you so much, everybody, for always being so supportive of this project. I know that the project itself, hopefully, I think the project itself sells itself very well. And that's ultimately what I love the most about it is I am not a good salesman. So I wanted to make sure that what I was offering people would be in and of itself enough of an advertisement. Yeah, I was thinking about I've been thinking a lot about how I when I first started writing it. Well, it wasn't the first time I started writing Outlaw Nights. Outlaw Nights went through. There was a long period of my life where Outlaw Nights was always just in the back of my head, and it was something I just imagined about in my spare time, just for kind of kicks. And it was one of those things where I had it in my mind like, I'm gonna write this someday. I'm gonna write this eventually. And I was really more thinking in terms of film. Because in order to do this right, we would need an astronomical budget in order to do that. And the way the film industry works, I find it quite disgusting and distasteful. I despise, it's funny, I love filmmaking, but some of my least favorite people on earth are filmmakers. Egos and just, the righteous indignation about everything, and then turning around and being completely anal and losing your shit over really stupid things like what kind of chair they gave you. By the way, that's a reference to something that my mother witnessed between a director and Don Cheadle in person. Don Cheadle threw a hissy fit because he didn't get the chair that he wanted. He wanted some kind of fancier chair. He didn't like the chair he got, so he screamed and yelled and blah blah blah. And the director appeased him and completely kissed his ass. Can't stand that stuff. I cannot stand, it's like you're in the most fun business imaginable and you act like that, Big reason why I don't like stars like Jennifer Lopez. I cannot stand that prima donna bullshit, because that's what it is. So, it's like I really, when it came to my approach in film, I've always felt like the ugly duckling or the odd man out. Everybody seemed to really get into this self-aggrandizing BS subculture, and I just was not having it. I was just the quiet guy who just kind of hung out in the corner and did what he was told. And, and then to learn, like I've seen people who actually thrived under those conditions go from having a buttload of work to having no work at all. And it all just is based on, just how people are feeling. And that's why I ultimately decided that I want to still do film, but I don't want to pursue the Hollywood life, if you will. I don't want to pursue mainstream success, because mainstream everything right now, number one, it's all garbage right now. It's all garbage, because now after, I don't care how you feel about him, I'm not a fan of him myself. When Donald Trump was elected president, that's when all bets were off in terms of there was always a slant working in things like film and all that. There was always a slant towards left-wing politics. And there wasn't a blacklist on right-wing creators, but right-wing creators got very little support and were usually kind of shoved out, and usually news media loved to play these little games to kind of, downplay anything that might have a conservative message and upplay anything that has an extremely liberal message. And so, I was used to that. I was used to that stupid bias. But there was always kind of a line where it stopped, you know what I mean? It was like there was a line where it's like, okay, that's not cool. You don't go that far with it. No. We don't want to chase off our fans, blah, blah, blah. All that's out the window. All that's gone. Now literally comic books exist just so the creators can vet who's a good person and who's a garbage person. The same thing with movies now. You see the discrepancies happening on Rotten Tomatoes right now. You got reviewers getting butthurt because the messages of movies aren't inherently, they're anything to the right of pure Maoist communism. Is just it's problematic. Same, and it's the same in the inverse with things like Rambo. Now, huge discrepancy, but it's because this whole thing, this is the new hill that we're gonna die on. This is the new, gotta shove out the wrong thinkers. And so in the midst of all this, I kept Outlawed Nights in the back of my mind. And I was thinking about it in terms of maybe someday if I get big. And then when I finally kind of gave up on my Hollywood ideas and started pursuing it differently, I realized that the reality of Outlaw Nights becoming a big movie was slim to none. And so I started trying to rethink it. I tried to write it as a novel. I got about 10, 20 pages in maybe, and I just hated writing a novel. I hated it because, maybe it's my laziness or whatever, but it's like when I write something, I don't like to focus on going into excruciating detail trying to set the scene in order to get going. I like to give a rough idea of what it is and then go forward with that. And the idea is I like the concept of a visual medium kind of picks up the slack where I lack as a creator. So yeah, I got midway through and I kind of just was like, I'm not even midway through. I was only in the first chapter. And I just was like, I don't like this. I don't like that, this isn't why I got into this, I didn't get into storytelling to torture myself. It's one of those things where it's like, if you really care about what you're doing, the torture isn't really torture. And that's how I felt when I was able to convert this into a comic book script. I was watching a stream one time, heard that you could use Final Cut to write a comic book script, and I was like, damn, I have that. Shit, how did I not know that? And I'm looking through, find the template button that I hadn't touched since I first got the software, realized, oh, there it is, there's an option for it, okay. So I just kind of looked over the format, and I realized the format's fairly simple to grasp. Like, if you know screenplay format, you can learn comic format like that. It's nothing. I spent about 2 weeks outlining the story, and then as I started to write on the actual script, I realized I packed way too much into that outline, so I had to cull a lot of stuff. But as a result, I have a lot of extra material to help supplement in issue 2 if I have any issues, but I don't think I'm gonna have any issues. I feel like I hit on some notes that I found were really exciting. It just kind of started to I ended up going away more from my outline as I was writing it, because there were certain parts that just kind of flowed more naturally, and I just kind of let them play out. All in all, you know, I had a couple people read it, you know, to see what they thought. All they ever gave me was positive feedback, which, you know, I love it. It strokes the hell out of my ego, but at the same time, it makes me nervous, because I'm like, are you just doing that to be nice? You know, like, I try to tell people, like, please, you know, tell me if there's something that needs to be changed or whatever, if there's something that doesn't make sense, if there's something that whatever. So I've gotten nothing but glowing reviews from people who've read my script. So, Render Contender said that he really liked my script, and that was part of what drew him into to working with me, you know. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, I'm just being honest. And I'm also saying this to you to help assuage any fears or doubts, because I know that it's a little iffy when you're buying from a first-time creator. You're kind of wondering, like, okay, is this guy like, is this person, you know, do they know what they're doing? Is this like, you know, this isn't going to be amateur hour, is it? I promise you, I applied all of my trade craft into this, so hopefully this will be a very good story for you. Now, you know, I can't read everybody's mind, so I don't know exactly if I'm going to meet whatever you're expecting. But I can tell you that I poured my heart, soul, and skill into this story. I believe in it. I believe very strongly in it, and I am not somebody who just kind of jumps on fads or whatever, or things just based on, you know, okay, well, I felt this way that time. Like, I like to be critical. And so as a result, you know, it's good that people are critical of my work, just so I can improve, just so I can get better as a creator. So anyway, that has been your Friday afternoon moment with Ben. Outlaw Nights, coming out the stroke of midnight, the beginning of September 24th. We're going to be on Arch City Comics channel doing a little launch party. It's going to be fun. I'm hoping to God, you know, I'm nervous, you know, I'm nervous. I can't lie, I'm nervous. I feel like I'm gonna launch the campaign where I'm nervous that we're gonna get like really tiny trickles of donations. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I will talk to you tomorrow.